Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar, Monitoring and Control, Discover the Endless Possibilities with Bluelog. This will be a product presentation as part of the Smart AE Industry Days 2021 that we are a part of for the first time with meteocontrol. We are very happy that you decided to tune in, and personally, I am very happy to welcome on stage two of my colleagues. That's Emilie Cheere from meteocontrol France and Emilie Cheere from meteocontrol Germany. And the two of them are experts in our main hardware component, the Bluelog X series. They will do the main presentation and tell you more about it after I give you a short introduction into our company's mission and vision. So what do we do at meteocontrol? We are one of the world's most trusted and experienced service providers in the renewables energy sector. We have running operations all around the world. Our wealth of experience makes us a pioneer and a key player in the industry. We strive to shape the future of tomorrow's energy landscape. What unites us with our partners is the vision of a more sustainable future. Our cloud platform monitors a total of 18 gigawatt of photovoltaic power, whilst analyzing the data of 50,000 PV plants all around the world. We have active operations in 120 countries and are physically present with expert teams and subsidiaries in 12 countries. As of today, we are 180 specialized employees working together worldwide and still growing. We just turned 45 this year, and with many new colleagues on board, we are ready for the next challenges in the PV sector. During all this time, our project partners have put their trust in us. Our future-proof products and services have helped them to maximize the operational and financial performance of their solar projects. Our wealth of experience makes us a pioneer and a key player in the PV industry. What you see here are our core products and services. You can see the Bluelog, second row. Our high-tech solutions for precise PV system monitoring and reliable grid integration have earned us a stellar reputation in the industry. We energize the worldwide transition to solar energy by providing planning and commissioning of monitoring solutions, as well as technical advisory services and solar power forecasting. We are pioneers in solar. Our company history dates back to the 70s, and many of our core products and services have been developed since. After 45 years, you can truly say that we are middle-aged. Our experiences have made us wiser, and we are full of energy for new innovations. For you, as a customer, this means that you'll find in us an experienced project partner that you can rely on. Even when times get tough, we are there for you. And we're there for you all around the world. The world is our stage. We not only have running operations in 120 countries, we are also physically present in 12 cities across the globe. From each, we're able to respond to your needs in every region. And now to our main presentation about the Bluelog X series. Emilie and Michael, the stage is yours.
You only need one XC per site typically, so it will do the power control, and the XM is focused on to collect all the data from a lot of devices up to 100. So it's focused on the monitoring side, and they are combinable to a master-slave system, so you can create like really big networks.
So how did we arrive to the Bluelog now? So as probably some of you know, we had the weblog before, which was a pretty proven solution. So we had thousands of systems equipped with the weblog, And it was pretty a strong product already, because we could already do power control with the weblog. But it was quite an industrial product. And after 10 years and many systems, the idea was to evolve to a more modern product, because it was maybe the weblog was more, let's say, industrial, with an industrial interface. And the idea was to have a much more user-friendly product, more accessible, and with a better interface and local interface. So the Bluelog was developed like maybe, I think in the 2010 or something, started 2015.
Yeah.
And the objective was really to take all maybe the troubles we could have met with the weblog, and to ease the process with the Bluelog and have an answer with the Bluelog. So we had the first version that you may have known, the X1000, 3000, and 6000. So why these numbers? So basically the X1000 was up to 1 megawatt, 3000 for 3 megawatts, and 6000 for 6 megawatts. So, and we evolved in the latest series to the Bluelog XM and XC. So why did we decide to split the Bluelog into two series? It's basically because we had some systems without power control, and then we didn't need to have everything in the device. So it allows us to basically have a device adapted to any kind of system.
Right. So, like I said before, the XC is focused on the power control thing. So we need a lot of power for that right now. So CPU power, because yeah, the requirements getting more challenging, let's say. And but we still have sites only with monitoring. So I think,
yeah, the XC is more actually more present than the XM, but
it's more important to have a lot of devices connected there.
So the main advantage of our product, so the Bluelog, and also from before the weblog, is the compatibility. So basically, this is a pretty evolutive product. The main point is that we have been working with the inverter manufacturers for long years, and we had already many compatibilities developed with the inverters, and we carry on developing it. So what's the main advantage is that you have all compatibilities, and you can, for example, on an existing system, change an inverter and use the same device and read different brands of inverters on the same system, which allows you to have one device pretty flexible and be already, let's say, ready for future requirements or any evolution of your system, PV system. So compatibilities is a very big advantage. And also the fact that it's a modular product. So basically on the Bluelog itself, you have digital inputs, digital outputs, RS485 inputs, and you can also add extra modules. So you can see on the pictures, we see 2 modules here, for example. So it allows you to add extra inputs. So, and as I said, it allows you to be more evolutive. So if you add more inverters later on, then you can connect more inverters and so on. So it's a really modular system, and also a really open interface, because you can also add extra digital input, for example, from an external PLC.
Yeah, right. So for the harder challenges, we can equip or use PLCs or extended. So yeah, I think a big step, or one of the biggest step in communication, was like the Modbus TCP connection. So the weblog was already like available in the network, but the data which was collected already was not so easily accessible from external devices. So in the Bluelog, we make a big step forward to make that available there.
Yeah, it's more or less a much more open interface than the weblog, because the idea is to give access either both ways. So the Bluelog can send, for example, the data, of course, to our portal VCOM. And there is a, let's say, a preferential connection to the VCOM, because you have a VPN connection integrated in the Bluelog for any system in the VCOM. And it's also a very good point for our technical support, for example, because with the Bluelog, our technical support, if the function is activated on the Bluelog, they can have access to the Bluelog anywhere. So as long as the Bluelog is online and the remote assistance is activated, the technical support can help you. And we opened the system also with, as Michael mentioned, with the SCADA licenses, for example, giving access in TCP/IP to all the data from the Bluelog, etc., etc. So we work with licenses, and the idea is to give as many possibilities as possible to get the data from the Bluelog itself, so that it's a bit of in the middle of the system, and yeah, it's able basically to gather the data and dispatch it afterwards. So one of the main features also, and what we like to say, is that in the PV industry, you often see systems with PLCs and programming. Programming is nice because it's very flexible, but in the end, it's also lots of maintenance. So the objective with the Bluelog was to work more with configuration and parameters, because in the end, we have everything already configured in the Bluelog, and you can switch easily the configuration or the parameters. You don't have to reprogram everything. So that allows also very high flexibility.
Yeah, we had that in the past, the experience that we have to do a retrofit on already existing sites. And there was a PLC or an IPC. And for us, it was like a black box. We cannot access that. We cannot view it. The customer had no backup there. So it's hard to say how it functions, especially if more and more communication goes via TCP. You cannot see the wires. You do not know, does it switch a device or something? So it's really nice to have a good interface, and everything is accessible for the customer. That's a good.
Yeah, and we see often the case by experience that there are existing systems, let's say old system with very, let's say, heavy SCADA systems sometimes on small systems, because before, let's say, SCADA was more of a trend. And we are able with the Bluelog in the end to fill in the same requirements with only one device. And it's pretty easy, because then you have less maintenance and you can do many things remotely as well. So for the retrofit, this is really a great tool, I would say. It's also a very interesting interface, because as you know, in the PV sector now, we need to share the data with many different actors, like the direct marketers, for example, aggregators. And we are able also to give access through a license to the direct marketers, so they can set the P set point, for example. But we will talk about it maybe later with the power control features of the Bluelog. So it's manufacturer independent. So as mentioned, we have many compatibilities, and we develop compatibilities every week, and we maintain it, which is very important, because maintenance is what is the most cost and time consuming thing. So since it's already in the Bluelog, it's much easier for the customers then, because we take care of the maintenance of these drivers in the end. And also, what is interesting is the local interface of the Bluelog.
Yeah, so the main goal of the development was to make it really easy and flexible. So menus or points will extend or shrink if you do not need them, depending on what you need. So yeah, to keep everything easy. I think with a basic knowledge, a lot of the things are self-explaining and are understandable. So that's a big step from the weblog.
Yeah, it's more user-friendly. Yeah, it's basically you have a user interface, you have a wizard to help you if needed in the beginning to make the basic configuration. And what is nice is that when you connect on the local interface, so either through the VCOM, so remotely with the VPN link, or if you configure a remote access through a router, or if you don't use the VCOM, then you can see the instant values on the Bluelog itself. Sorry, I'm still with the weblog. I'm quite old-fashioned.
Yeah, you have real-time values. You can put them together like you want. You can show charts. You can show values. You can export them to analyze them or to document them. Yeah, in real time.
Yeah, and what's really nice also, it's one of our latest feature. We have now digital outputs, that when you connect on the interface locally of the Bluelog, you can switch on or off a digital output, for example. So it can be interesting sometimes just for I don't know, the 48 charger, for example, or
yeah, if you want to disconnect something, restart something, so you do not need to program an HMI or have an additional PC or device there.
Yeah.
So only use the remote access and switch it on or off.
It's the same for inverter maintenance, for example. You can, if you have maintenance on an inverter, you can switch it off for the maintenance and keep the other one on. So that's also an advantage. So what's also interesting is the logbook, for example, because sometimes it's difficult to know what happened on the device. So the Bluelog itself is protected by a password and a user account. So each person connected to the Bluelog needs a password. And with the logbook, for example, you are able to see what happened on the device, what has been done. So sometimes it's important when several persons have to work on the Bluelog, because then you know what happened and who connected on it.
And you can see really exact the values which were changed. Yeah. So if you want to redo something or undo something, you can see that there.
So as we mentioned before, so we do updates all the time of the firmware itself of the Bluelog, and we do add also compatibilities. So I would say there is a Bluelog update every month, or every 2 months, something on the firmware.
It depends a little bit on the development. When new features are ready or new inverters come out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we split that into the controller version, which is the core, let's say, for power control, and the driver package. So you can update only the driver package if you need to. It's a really small, really quick process, or the whole firmware, and then you get the new controller and so on. So you will profit from new developments, new features will be integrated. Yeah.
And you are always informed about the new updates. There is like a pop-up message at the bottom of the interface saying that you have a new firmware available, so you can proceed with the update very easily.
And if core things changed, you will get a warning about that to maybe check it first, what does change, so that settings do not get lost or something.
So, of course, as we said, the main features is also about power control. So one of the main subjects for meteocontrol for the future development, and also due to the market requirement, is power control. So integration of renewable energy, and particularly PV on the grid, is important. And of course, there are more and more specific requirements from the grid operators, and we have to adapt every time. So I would say in the last 2 years, we developed different methods and different power control functionalities. And it's also interesting to do it with the Bluelog, because it's really the translator to the inverter, I would say. So basically, it's the interlocutor to the inverters to translate all the set points and from the different actors. So as we said, aggregators, or the grid operator, or the operator himself. And yeah, it's the interface in the end to all the persons working on the system.
Yeah, especially the requirements get harder or challenging, more challenging. Mm-hmm. So we have to adapt every time something new came out, especially at these times where the norms get evolve, or especially outside of Europe. There are no norms right now. There were no power control things. So in Europe, we are almost done, let's say, hopefully. But I think we have a good preparation and for what's coming. So
yeah, because we work basically based on the European regulation, and we were also certified as a component for PPC like 2 years ago, I think. And if we take the example of the Spanish market, for example, the requirements for power control and typically the zero feeding are really high. That's we would say the hardest requirements in Europe. And we did have the certificate to do zero feeding in Spain. So we are really concerned about power control, and we try to implement the feature as fast as possible. Of course, it depends, but we really want to be flexible and to make the product evolve and easy integrable in the system. So we do P and Q, for example.
Yeah, we have different modes of active and reactive power control. So it can be a fixed value, it can be a curve, it can be an analog signal, or a value which always changes, sent by the grid operator, for example. For reactive power, we have like the power factor, the reactive power control. A new feature is the frequency control. So the active power will be like reduced depending on the frequency, for example.
Yes. Yeah. And what's nice also is when you have, because I have the example, for example, in France, there are 2 types of regulation, and you can easily switch the regulation easily, as we said, in the configuration. So you don't need to do the reprogramming, and you don't have to change the hardware. It's already in the hardware. So it's already in the Bluelog. You can easily just change the configuration and you're ready.
That's a full controller. You can tune it, you can adjust it, how fast the power control will be, how exact. So it's really, you can go really deep inside the settings if you have the knowledge. If not, we help you.
Yeah, we do have like a service for fine tuning. So depending on the requirements, sometimes it's not, let's say, standard in the Bluelog, but we can go deeper into the tuning of the power control and do like simulation. We also do simulation for the grid operator. I think in Germany it's a requirement to give a.
It helps with the final commissioning.
Yeah.
Let's say. A good thing here again, if you what you see on the picture is the overview. So you see all the power control values live in the real time. The set point, the measured value, and the corrected value. So you know exactly what the controller is doing, and the mode, of course.
And you can see all the set points as well, which is required very often for the PR calculation as well, to be able to explain that it was power control and not a loss.
Who was loss. Reducing the power?
Exactly,
the direct marketing or the grid operator.
Yeah, which is a big requirement right now, and also that you have all the set points and you can extract it directly from the Bluelog, or you can see it also on the VCOM.
Yeah, we guarantee like 100 days of data storage on the Bluelog itself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there is local storage, and then if you work with the VCOM platform, then you have all the data stored in the VCOM itself. So as we said before, we can provide a full system, so with stations and accessories, or integrate the Bluelog as a slave, for example, in an existing SCADA. So we had the case of a SCADA, external SCADA system, where we needed to use the Bluelog because it allows not to develop the compatibility to the inverters. So basically, you can integrate it via the TCP/IP communication and send the data to other system, have the local SCADA and send the data separately to another system. This is also possible.
To make it easier for the customer, we provide also, like, we call it like stations or cabinets, which are pre-wired or can be pre-wired to the needs of the customer. We try to be really individually with the power supply, UPS, indoor and outdoor, so like climate things, heating and cooling, a router, meter, and so on. So it depends really on the customer, what are the needs.
And this is pretty flexible and tailor-made. Yeah. So again, as we said on the lessons learned and what we faced in the previous project, we had a big project in the Netherlands, I think last year, with power control, and we had, I think, on this system like not frequency requirement on this one. So.
I'm not quite sure. It's so grid code compliance is a big thing, and we have like our specialists who are working on that. It evolves like we said before. So we had like three different versions of the grid codes from the Netherlands in like, I don't know, 3 years or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you have to really keep to be up to date, especially with the bigger sites, with the verification processes. After that, the measurement values. Yeah.
So yeah, if you have any questions or about the Bluelog, so this is a picture of one of the projects we did, I think, in Spain. We work on many different size of projects, actually, not only big ground mounting systems. We also work a lot on CNI systems. I know on the French market, our main segment is basically between 500 kilowatt peak to 18 megawatt peak. So it's very variable, and in the end, we are really flexible. And every time the Bluelog, I mean, with one Bluelog, we can sometimes manage to do the monitoring for 5 megawatt peak system. But the most important is to think about the monitoring upfront the project, because very often it's integrated at the end, and that we can still adapt. But for optimization, it's even better to think about it upfront, also in the planning phase.
Oh yes, yeah. It's you can save a lot of money, space, and discussions, let's say.
Yeah.
So it saves time. After that, if you contact us maybe a little bit earlier, if it's possible, and yeah, then we
adapt the product. Yeah.
Hopefully, we can help you. So these are the key facts. I think which are really important. So only for you as a small overview. And yeah, if you have questions, now it's time.
Have a few questions here.
You can still post them.
So where do we develop the Bluelog software?
The Bluelog software is developed here in Augsburg, in Germany, locally. Yeah.
So we have a full team of developers. We have like 80 developers. So not all for the Bluelog, because we have the VCOM as well, but I would say maybe half and half for the VCOM and half for the Bluelog.
Like new features, driver developments, bug fixes, yeah.
So as mentioned, we really maintain the product as much as possible. And what is nice also is that our developers are working more and more closer for the integration of the Bluelog and the VCOM. So even if both sides are very open, so you can work with the VCOM and other data loggers, and also work with the Bluelog and other portals. But the combination Bluelog with VCOM is really, I think, really important, because it gives you even more. You can really use all let's say the power of the Bluelog, because you have this link with the VCOM, and we are sure of the data we are getting in the portal, and we have the hands on it, so it makes things easier. And also for the customers, because they have one interlocutor in the end. But of course, with the retrofits and systems that are bought all the time, you change operators. You cannot change all the time the hardware, so you need also to be flexible. So this is no problem. So yeah, everything is developed here in the head office in Augsburg.
Next question, where are your servers located? We have two locations. One is here in Germany, here in Augsburg, and the other one is in China. We have to have a separate server there because of the data.
Yeah, for security reasons with China, there is a kind of big firewall.
So we have one in both countries.
I think now. Question is, might be if we transmit data from Europe to China, this might be where the question comes from. Now, your answer sounds like
no.
You should maybe explain the data in Europe and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
We had to build up a server in China because of the business in China. So, but the rest is here in Augsburg. So, yeah.
Yeah, there is no mix of server.
Yeah. Okay, so you can write your questions in the chat, because we have arrived at the end of the presentation. If there are no more questions, we wrap it up here. I think half an hour is okay for a webinar, since we're all digitally experience now. If you have any other questions, we'd be glad if you would reach out to us. We'll send you the presentation afterwards, and hope you'll be in touch and see you in real at the Smarter E in October in Munich. You can meet my colleagues there, and we'll be happy to see you again.
There's much more to say.
Yeah.
Much more information, really detailed.
Thank you.
So no more questions there, or?
No more questions. So it's a wrap. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day, and see you soon.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.